So hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good midday. My name is Alexa. I'm with OpenFn, and I'm here with another colleague, Rita, who will be introducing herself in a moment. But we're really looking forward to sitting down with you today and talking about ConSoSci and the different technology solutions that are available to really help social scientists with end-to-end data collection, data management, and data analysis. So today specifically, we're going to be diving into just an overview of these different solutions on a kind of high-level functional case, but we will be getting into specifically OpenFn, which is this integration platform, this tool for connecting all of these different technology building blocks that we'll be talking about today. But this is one of many trainings, so hoping to see all of your faces again. If you're not sick of mine by the end of these 2 hours. But the goal is for today, it's this high level overview on ConSoSci and OpenFn. But then we have another 2 days of these introductory trainings. So we'll be diving into specifics around one of the solutions that we've have in the pipeline, how you can take a certain data collection form and really quickly and automatically get that into a database. As well as some COBO Toolbox form management best practices is what we're going to get to in day 2. And then day 3, we're going to talk a little bit about how you might leverage this toolkit that we're going to explore at a high level today, but to really kind of adapt these solutions to your context. So if you're not using standard forms for data collection, but have your own custom surveys that you're building out for different data collection needs, how you might approach this toolkit and begin to design different solutions that fit your organization's need. But then we have days 4 through 7, where we really dive into the technical bits of great, now you understand the toolkit, you understand your options, you have this one really great automation solution available to you, and you generally know how to design and pick out solutions that fit your needs. But now, how do you actually go about and implementing it? So if y'all are interested in getting a little bit more hands-on, of understanding a bit more of the technical behind the scenes, please join us on days 4 through 7, which will get a lot more into that. But I know today that it will be a bit more high level. And so if you're not a technical person, if you're not someone who works with data day to day, I'm sure a lot of you have some sort of familiarity with data or interest, which is why you're here. So we'll try to keep things high level. But definitely please stick around for the second part of today's session, just to get a little bit more into the technical bits and just understanding OpenFn as one of these toolkits for piecing together these different solutions. So today we're going to start just with a quick round of introductions. I know we have a lot of folks on the call, but I myself am really excited just to understand who's joining us today and kind of where you're coming from. But then we'll get into the ConSoSci solution offering and the different technology options that are available, as well as talking about OpenFn specifically, which is this main tool for connecting all of these other technology options that are out there. But then we're also going to reflect on some actual solutions that are already available and how they've been applied to existing use cases, just to see if there's any alignment with some use cases that you might come across in your own organization. And then we'll take a quick break and we'll come back and we'll talk a little bit more about the OpenFn platform itself and a bit more into the technical bits as a primer for the coming days. So to start, just to introduce myself and my colleague Rita. So I'm Alexa, I'm an implementation consultant at OpenFn Group. We work with a number of health, humanitarian, conservation, social science research organizations across the globe, specifically around the problem of integration and interoperability. We found that organizations use lots of technologies and data sources to get the job done, but often struggle to connect these different information sources or share information in a way where it becomes useful and can be quickly accessed. We find that a lot of organizations spend time, just trying to get data from one place to another, or get data into a format that is easily used and readable and understandable by other partners. So we've been working closely with the ConSoSci partnership and and Wildlife Conservation Society over the last year, and kind of imagining a number of solutions that might be configured using different integration tools to help provide the ConSoSci partnership and the wider conservation community with some examples and template solutions that might be used to support social science research and to get that data to a place that's accessible and useful and ready to analyze a bit more quickly. So I'll be leading the first part of the training today, and my colleague Rita will be joining in for the second part. Rita, do you want to say hello?
Yeah, hi everyone. Great to have you here. I'm also an implementation consultant at OpenFn, and I'm calling in from Nairobi.
Great. And I'm calling you from Riga, Latvia, where we still have snow and it's driving me nuts, and I'm ready for spring. But I think we have quite a global group, and our team is spread across mostly Africa, Europe, so around the place, and our partners are around the world. But as I said, working most closely with the ConSoSci partnership over the last year. And some of you might be familiar with the partnership, some of you not, but the mission is really to promote and support social science research as it relates to conservation. And so today we're going to be focusing on the technical capacity and solutions that are offered to the partnership, and just helping social scientists have this offering of end-to-end data solutions for capturing, for organizing, and for analyzing social science data, whether that's using kind of some standard surveys from a library or for custom data collection and analysis needs. That's what we'll be getting into a little bit today. But I want to turn it over to you all really quickly. We have a lot of folks on the call, so hoping just a quick introduction. We'd love to just know your name, what organization you're with, and your role at that organization, but particularly with respect to data. So if you're working with data collection, analysis, or maybe more at a higher level, business level, where you're just care about understanding the performance of your programs and how folks are doing, would love to just hear a quick one line on your role. So to kick us off, I see Diane first.
Hi, thanks for the introduction, Alexa. So I'm Diane, I work for WCS, and I'm trying to help WCS using Kobo Toolbox for any social science research, and also any other survey where Kobo might be useful. So I'm helping with designing forms, analysis, and something like that.
Okay, well, I think you're asking us to nominate ourselves, which order. So I'm Jonathan Palmer. For ConSoSci, I lead on the technology side. So trying to focus on how we make sure that the tools for data collection, integration, and analysis of data are as simple and as easy to use. Really excited that what we're doing with OpenFN, I'm looking forward to what people learn today. I'm also looking forward over time to think about how we can further simplify how we integrate systems, and so while this is an exciting first step, I'm also looking forward to how we can improve on this solution over time.
I'm Dave Wilkie. I'm also at WCS. I used to run our measures program, so we're really interested in how do we measure our impact and report on that. And I stopped coding when the industry stopped using COBOL and Fortran.
They still use those. And I guess with that, I'm Steve Gallo. I'm also at WCS. I focus on data kind of broadly, so integrating and then facilitating analysis. So I'm really excited to see this project moving forward.
Hello, my name is Remy Adeno, and I work with WCS at the Kenya Marine Program. And I work closely with data enumerators, collecting data for sharks and rays, where we use data collection platforms like Kobo we use another platform called Collect as well. So really interested to see how you can use these tools to be able to connect different platforms, and especially when you get to issues such as data analysis and presentation. Thank you.
My name is James McNamara, and I'm working with the Smithsonian Institution at the moment. And I'm helping there to develop a program of work that is trying to understand the drivers behind the use of slash and burn in agriculture with a view to transitioning it to more sustainable practices. And we've actually got quite a big social science sort of survey going on at the moment, and we're using ODK Collect. So I haven't had any experience with Kobo Toolbox, but I think that ODK also can collect into the OpenFn software. So this is going to be really relevant to the work that we're doing and potential future work that we plan to roll out there too.
Morning, I'm Molly Dodge. I'm the program manager for the Smithsonian Conservation Commons Working Land and Seascapes Action Area, and have been participating on the ConSoSci partnership meetings and work with James and some other folks on this call. So we're just kind of learning how to go about integrating social science data with some of the ecological data sets we have. So I'm just hoping to get an overview.
Okay, I'm Anna Feisner. I'm the director of the Smithsonian Gabon Biodiversity Program, working closely with James and also with the people from WLS. So I oversee the development and support of all our research and conservation programs, which, as James mentioned, is including this, what is a new initiative for us to collect social science data through interviews.
Hi, I am Justin Nowakowski. I'm a joint fellow with the Smithsonian Institution and Conservation International. I'm a researcher. I focus mainly lately on impact assessments, looking at what actually works in conservation. So in terms of data, that's collection, analysis, synthesis, and communication.
And hi, I'm Matteo Zanardo. I work for WWF. And in my role, I use data quite a bit and Kobo Toolbox. So I lead a couple of monitoring programs. And so everything from the designing of databases to the creation of the forums to the analysis of the data afterwards is something I focus on. So this is a very relevant training for me.
Hi, sorry. Go ahead. And then I'll go.
I'm Allison Kaywood. I am at the Smithsonian and I do a lot of program evaluation.
Hi, I'm Olivia Cosby. I'm a student fellow with the Smithsonian Institute, and I work with Molly and some other people on the call under the Working Lands and Seascapes Initiative. I've been leading an effort for a community-led wildlife monitoring program in Borneo, and we're working on expanding now and integrating more social science surveys. So I'm interested to learn from this workshop today.
Hi, everyone. My name is Brandy. I'm with the Nature Conservancy. I work on the global science team and the global Indigenous peoples and local communities strategy. Like Justin, I'm a researcher. I focus primarily, or have been focused primarily over the last couple of years on evaluating the effectiveness of community-based conservation strategies for the IPLC team. And moving forward, I'll be supporting Nikki, who's not on the call today, but another TNC colleague in implementing monitoring and evaluation pilots. So very excited about the training and also participate in the ConSoSci partnership calls when I can. Thank you.
Hi, hello, my name is Wulan Pusparini. I'm a PhD student at ICCS, University of Oxford. So my study is going to be about integrating ecological data and social science. Yeah, so I'm very excited with this training.
Wonderful. Anyone else?
Oh,
yeah.
I'm Neely. I work at WCS. I'm a program manager for conservation technology for the ConSoSci partnership. I'm also the partnership manager. And as part of my role is work with a lot of data on data management and supporting tools for data collection, management, analysis.
Hello, my name is Christy Brown, and I'm with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service International Affairs Program, and I sit in the Combating Wildlife Trafficking branch, and I'm a conservation social scientist. And I'm relatively new to the program, the first social scientist in our international program. So my role right now is doing some strategic planning for how to grow social science capacity in our international program. And I came from a different part of the service that was a team of social scientists, and our role was mostly social science technical support at the project level and doing training. Thanks.
Wonderful. Anyone else? Okay, well, if anyone else joins, feel free to drop a quick note in the group chat. So thank you all just for taking a moment to share. I think it's just valuable for us just to understand who's in the room, particularly as we go through the coming days. So a little bit more about me. I've been working in the social sector, focusing on problems of data management, data analysis, and data integration for the last 7 years or so, primarily in the health space, but with a lot of social science researchers as well. So I myself am not a developer, but very tech friendly over the years, and have come to learn a lot more about the technology. We'll try to keep things high level again, but at any point, if you have questions throughout the training, feel free to put your hand up. And there will be moments where we pause and we ask questions, or you can also drop them in the chat. Either myself or my colleague Rita will get to that. And yeah, looking forward to engaging more with you all in the coming days and learning more about your work and understanding where there might be some synergies with the solution offering here. But to start, we're going to be talking about the ConSoSci technology set of solutions and what that offers, and really, I think Li-Ling and Jonathan, some other people on the call who can speak a lot more to this in side chats, but the challenge that we're really trying to solve for with this pipeline of solutions is a number of things, but really providing the capacity, both in terms of training, both in terms of resources, as well as actual technology solutions for delivering easier data collection, management, and analysis tools. So that's the focus of the ConSoSci partnership with respect to technology. And what I'm going to be sharing with you all today is a little bit more about the tools specifically. So there is the stack or toolkit available to the ConSoSci partnership that leverages a number of different technologies that can really be considered as separate building blocks, but together provide this integrated suite of end-to-end solutions, all the way from field data collection to aggregating that across different data collection sites, to then just processing that data and sending it to wherever you want that data to go, whether that's to a tool like ConSoSci Connect that provides some data storage and visualization options, or to your own data systems. So whether that's something that your organization uses internally, or if you want to share information with another partner, all of that can be supported, and you can really leverage these building blocks to build out your own data pipelines that match your organization's specific needs. So we're going to talk first today about Kobo Toolbox, just really quickly for those of you who might not be familiar with Kobo Toolbox. Kobo Toolbox is a mobile data collection tool primarily, but it also offers a web app for managing data. And I heard some of you on the call say that you might be using some other data collection tools like Open Data Kit, ONA, Survey CTO. There are lots of tools out there that do a similar job. But one reason that we in the ConSoSci partnership particularly like Kobo Toolbox is that everything is free and open source. This entire suite of field data collection tools. It targets organizations that are working in areas with not great internet connectivity, so it works both online and offline. And it has been found to be like a really great tool for social science data collection. It's quite easy to configure what Kobo calls forms or surveys for capturing data that can then be administered on mobile. And then as those data surveys are being collected, that information can be automatically synced to this Kobo web app that provides some basic data management functionality, a basic interface for cleaning data, for conducting simple analysis. So it's a really quick to deploy tool for collecting information. And in my personal experience, I found it to provide a lot better data management features than something like ODK, for example. But it's very similar to a lot of these other open data collection tools out there, but that has been a favorite of the partnership so far. And so this is one technology that is available to you all if you are looking to find a new data collection tool or streamline your data collection tools. It's free to sign up. It's free to use up to certain limits, which I don't think anyone in the partnership has encountered those limits yet. And I know an initiative of the partnership is to be developing a library of standard surveys or forms that can be used for data collection. So if you all are familiar with the ConSoSci Basic Necessities Survey, BNS, for example, there's a library of these surveys that your organization could download, deploy on this Kobo Toolbox survey and start collecting information today, as well as customize, and whether that's customizing existing standard forms or building your own, this is one data collection option to you to consider. Now on the data management side, Kobo offers this basic management interface, but it's quite lightweight. So if you're planning to really organize and structure your data in a way that's a bit more ready for analysis, you might be considering where to capture that data. So with the ConSoSci partnership, we've been focusing specifically on different database system options, primarily PostgreSQL, which is an entirely open source database option. So again, anyone can go and can set up a Postgres database. They're also working with Microsoft SQL Server as another database option, as Microsoft tends to be quite popular in this space and with the social science crowd. But these are just two examples of data systems where you might put your social science data. And these might be the underlying storage for other analysis tools that you're using, whether that's ConSoSci Connect or Power BI or Tableau, or maybe you're exporting and running analysis on tools like SPSS and Stata. But what we also offer in this toolkit are options for you to connect with any data system of your choice. So if your organization already has some sort of database or destination data system where you're doing your management, there is options to connect with that. But today we'll be focusing mostly on some of these database options as that destination for where you might send some of your Kobo data. ConSoSci Connect is another data solution option that's offered to the partnership that's currently in development. There's been some seed funding, and there's a production quality prototype to be released in the next few months. So certainly stay tuned for that if you're interested in another data solution that offers data storage as well as organization and analysis and visualization options, particularly around certain key indicators or queries that you might be interested. So for example, if your organization is leveraging the Basic Necessities Survey or the Natural Resources Governance tool, there might be some out-of-box visualizations that your organization can leverage through ConSoSci Connect. And it provides the ability to monitor progress towards key indicators in real time, as well as run further custom analyses to dissect and investigate social science data collected across sites. So definitely stay tuned if you're interested in that. And the underlying database for ConSoSci Connect is one of those database options we just mentioned, PostgreSQL. So just another tool for you to consider as you're evaluating, where you might have data collection or management or analysis tools, where you might not, and where you might want to borrow from one of these building blocks and making your data pipelines. But today we're going to be focusing a lot on OpenFunction specifically, which is this pipeline or this infrastructure for connecting all of these different applications. So it offers a secure and also really cost-effective way for quickly setting up integrations. And that allows you to connect disconnected systems or data sources and bring it all into one integrated ecosystem. So if your organization yourself is using multiple technologies to get the job done, or maybe you're working with other organizations or partners that have data in different places, OpenFunction is an option for you to connect all of those and to bring all those social science data sets together. And doing it in a way that not only brings the data together, but also prepares and processes the data in a way so that way it is quickly useful. We see a lot of organizations still, moving things over Excel spreadsheets, sometimes still paper or over email, and spending quite a lot of time sometimes, exporting information from one system, cleaning it, preparing reports to send to another organization. So OpenFunction is this tool that can really quickly help you build these connections, securely move information back and forth in the format that you need it, but also provide snapshots of data along the way. So a lot of us working in social science will have some sort of data cleaning or validation processes that data in the state of your data might change over time. But with a tool like OpenFunction, you can really track and audit those data in its different states. So that way you can see what information looked like at different points at which it was shared. But this being a tool that's available to the partnership to connect any application. So again, today we're going to focus primarily on how you might connect tools like Kobo Toolbox, a mobile data collection tool, with a database system. But OpenFunction can be leveraged to connect other mobile data collection tools. Basically any web application it will work out of box with. So if you're working with partners or your organization already has them in-house, chances are OpenFunction will work to connect with that, as well as databases, and it has been implemented to also connect with custom applications and some legacy systems. So if your data source that you're working with can somehow get online or be online accessible, OpenFunction can connect with it. And even if it's not online, we've done some work with CSV uploads and all that. So this is what we're going to be focusing on today as we break down this toolkit. So I just want to do a quick pulse check, and feel free to just raise your hand or drop a quick chat in the chat box. But I'm wondering who in this group, or whose organization already uses Kobo Toolbox. If you wouldn't mind just kind of putting your hand up, or just a quick chat. If there's other data collection tools you're using, I think just nice for us to understand in the coming days what tools folks are already using. And while folks are doing that, is there any quick questions for me just on the high level of those tools that we talked about?
Alexa, while everyone's doing that, I think it's worth also mentioning that as a partnership, ConSoSci, we will obviously do trainings in Kobo Toolbox and in ConSoSci Connect as we build out services there. It's a bit unusual to be starting with the glue in the middle that integrates them, but just so people know, the reason we're starting with that is twofold. One is we've got to the stage where we're ready to teach, and two is we had a grant. So for those of you who are familiar with Kobo and the partnership, this will all make sense. for those of you who are new to this and you're wondering why we're starting with this technical bit of glue in the middle rather than the data collection or the analysis, it's just basically a sequencing issue that came up because we had funding to at this stage to move forward with this part of the training first.
Thanks, Jonathan. Matthias, I see there's a question.
Oh, no question. I just was responding to your question.
Okay,
So,
the Kobo, cool.
yeah, we've used Microsoft Access, unfortunately, in the past for storage needs, but now we're shifting to PostgreSQL or SQL, and R is our tool of choice for analysis.
Awesome. And just maybe if everyone would mind just dropping some quick chats to just prime some of the discussion going forward, we would love to know, are you using any databases in-house? Are you using some sort of other tool for data management or analysis? If there are popular tools in your organization's data toolkit, if you wouldn't mind leaving a quick chat, that's just helpful for us to reference going forward. Great. Well, as Jonathan said, there will be more to come talking about these different tools that we're connecting, particularly with Kobo Toolbox. But I do want to draw everyone's attention to the pre-reading that we sent before the training, and it's also linked to in the calendar agenda today. In that training pre-reading, it links to a documentation site that provides some overview of some key concepts that we'll be going through today. So that's what I have up on my screen now. But in it has also some links to some Kobo Toolbox resources specifically. So if you go to key concepts, there is a section that talks a little bit more about the stack in depth, offers some links to these specific technologies, as well as talks about Kobo Toolbox specifically, and then links to some other resources that the partnership has put together. I know Diane in particular has been working on a number of materials and all that are to come. So if you have any Kobo questions, you can absolutely reach out to the partnership and can answer more about that. But today we'll be focusing on how to connect the stack and just so you all understand these different options for building these integration collections of solutions. Great. Well, usually when we're working with organizations that are using some sort of data collection tool like Kobo Toolbox, we see a lot of times that to get data to a place where it can be more easily organized, cleaned, and prepared for analysis, there's usually a human step to exporting data to Excel or CSV. A lot of times some sort of human manipulation of that data to clean or to get it into that format, and then sending it onwards to another data system or to analysis tool or to a partner. So that option is definitely still available if you're using Kobo Toolbox. But what OpenFunction provides is a way to automatically, connect your Kobo Toolbox or your data collection tool, whether that's Kobo or something else, to your destination system where you're doing the heavy work in terms of organizing and analyzing that data. So that might be ConSoSci Connect if you're choosing to deploy that solution to leverage some of these visualizations and other features that will come with it. But it might also be to any data system of your choice. So again, that could be something that your organization already has in-house. We also offer some automatic solutions for helping you configure a database if you don't have that already. So stay tuned for that. On day 2 is we're going to talk about if you have a Kobo data collection form, but nowhere to put that data, how OpenFunction and this automation solution might help to quickly get that Kobo form to both configure a database as well as map that data in there. But really, these are just different components and up to you all to imagine kind of where this might fit into your organization's digital ecosystem to support your work. But just want to emphasize that again with OpenFunction, it's not only the ability to connect apps, but also the way to automate logic for data cleaning and transformation. I like to think of OpenFunction as your new data entry clerk. So maybe it's yourself or another colleague is responsible for exporting information, for cleaning in Excel, for reformatting it, for sending it to another system, rather than spending that time having a human do all that. If you can define rules or steps for how that data should be processed, for how that data should be cleaned, OpenFunction can become your new data clerk to do that processing and data cleaning and preparing of that data to make it a bit more instantly useful. So again, not just for information exchange, but also information processing. And so we'll get a lot more into that later today. But any quick questions on OpenFunction at a high level and just the technology stack here at a high level?
Well, I'm not sure if this is a high level question, but will OpenFN take some of the validation parameters from the Kobo Toolbox database and incorporate it already into its processing? Or would that be kind of need to be like manually copied over? That's definitely not a high level question now that I realize that. So we can skip that till later.
I'll note that one for later. And I
good.
think just want to get into a specific example there. But you know, OpenFunction might take Kobo data in whatever form it's outputted. So if there's already cleaning or calculations, then it will take it in that state. But then you can also add additional rules on top of that if you wanted to do further cleaning or analysis. So we can talk more through that example later.
Gotcha. Thanks.
Great. And so kind of getting to that is how OpenFunction does this is something that we're going to explore a little bit more in depth today, is this concept of jobs. So as I said, OpenFunction is your new data entry clerk. So right now, if you have a lot of data jobs on your agenda every day where you need to every month export information from your data collection source, prepare it in Excel and prepare a nice report for your donors or your partners. Again, if you can think of a set of tasks or rules that are repeatable, OpenFunction can be configured to run these jobs to do that work for you. And the platform offers almost like an Excel-like syntax for configuring some of these jobs. If you're doing just basic data exchange and assignment of different data elements between systems, but it also offers a full, robust kind of code developer experience for organizations that do want to do a lot more robust data manipulation, accessing of different APIs, performing very complex workflows. So at a start, it provides this almost Excel formula like syntax for doing this mapping, but then can be powered up. And if your organization has any JavaScript developers on staff, or even folks like myself, I'm not a developer, but have been able to pick up some very basic JavaScript. It's I think the most popular developing language out there. It can be, OpenFunction can be really leveraged to automate any type of data pipeline or integration requirement that you might imagine. But what we'll be focusing on for the first couple of days of training is just even how these jobs at a high level work, but also how organizations with data familiarity and tech savviness can begin to set up these jobs, as well as some solutions that automatically create these jobs for you. So that's what we'll be focusing on day 2 is you have a Kobo form, you want to get it to a database, OpenFunction will do the work for you of configuring that database and configuring that job or that integration script for connecting the different data. And so in that way you can take a survey, define how that survey should map or be assigned to certain destination data points in another system. So if you had a database where you were capturing information on participants, on locations, on other questions, you can specify exactly how that survey information should map to those data points or fields that you're capturing. And that might be helpful if you have a very structured database in mind where you're designed it in a way to optimize analysis. It might be helpful if you are collecting information only on key indicators and are only interested in pulling certain data points. Or you might choose to set up a destination system where you can capture, all sorts of information, maybe the full survey in its original form. So that way you can later decide whether you want to be cleaning or analyzing it and so on. So we're going to get a little bit more into that today, but just want to point you all to, this is also accessible via that pre-reading site that we shared. But there is this GitHub repository that contains a lot of these jobs or these open function solutions for connecting different COBO surveys with different destination systems and databases. So you can go ahead and check that out at Open Function GitHub ConSoSci, and there's both the underlying solutions themselves as well as the entire documentation site, as I have on my screen, that provides an overview of the different solutions and how you might leverage these. That will be continued to be updated over time. Any quick questions here? Awesome. Well, so now that we have an understanding of Open Function as this glue, this integration layer for connecting, COBOL Toolbox or your data collection tools that you're using, and different data management or analysis systems like a database or ConSoSci Connect. It can be leveraged, and it already has been leveraged in a number of different ways that are particularly relevant to this group here. The first use case that we've seen implemented so far is just quickly integrating and reporting on standardized data collection forms. So the ConSoSci partnership is building out a library of standard COBO forms for data collection. So if you're using COBO Toolbox, these will be available to download, deploy, and start using today. Even if you're not using COBO Toolbox, a point of reference just for certain data collection around key indicators for these different surveys. So some examples are the basic necessities survey, as well as the natural resources governance tool. And so we've seen those implemented in a way where they can then be very quickly connected with a database for regular as well as historical analysis of data collected for these forms. And as data is collected on an ongoing basis, the ability to quickly see snapshots in time as that data is coming in, empowering social scientists or data managers to understand what's going on in the field, what information is being captured, how clean that data is, to apply data cleaning and really manage that, but to begin to really quickly access data across these key indicators. So that's the first use case there. The second one that we've seen is around multi-organization collaboration. So maybe you're working with other organizations or partners and you all are interested in a certain topic. So we've seen this with the wild meat consumption group, where a number of organizations are capturing information and wanted to map the data they were collecting to one database that was already set up. So in this scenario, there was already a database that existed with a certain format to support analysis that was going to be run on wild meat consumption. And using Open Function, these organizations were able to pull information from different sources and map this to that one central database. So just another use case if you're working with partners, or even in your own organization, if you have data in different places and different forms, you can still get all of that information into one place and also map it to an existing data structure. The third use case we've seen is when organizations may not already have a database configured, but are wanting to quickly collect information and want to deploy a survey really quickly to the field. So in this case, COBO Toolbox is really great for spinning up surveys really quickly. But then if you don't have a database configured to capture that, it might take some time to gather that information across Kobo surveys and prepare it for analysis. So there is an automation solution available to the partnership that will take a Kobo form and will not only extract the data from that Kobo form, but will also automatically configure a database with a fairly lightweight structure, but would now allow you to very quickly start analyzing that data as soon as it's starting to be collected in the field. So this is great if you don't have a lot of database experience or don't have existing database in your own ecosystem. You can leverage this automation solution to quickly stand that up and just to get to analysis and data management a lot more quickly. So we're going to be focusing a lot on that during day 2 and a little bit of day 3. So if you're interested in learning more about that solution in particular, I definitely encourage you all to join. But all of these use cases and solutions are available on the GitHub and the documentation site, and happy to answer more questions specifically. But even if these use cases don't necessarily resonate with you, or you can't immediately think of a good fit, or you have some sort of other integration need, OpenFunction is this tool available to you to configure custom integrations with any data sources. So if you're not using Kobo, or you're using other data collection tools, or maybe you're using Kobo and have a database configured in a very specific way, and you know exactly how you want to connect those two systems, you can still leverage the platform to set up your own integration solutions and any type of ETL process. So for those of you that work a lot with data management, you might have heard that term ETL: extract, transform, and load. But really any type of kind of data processing or data management step, you can look to automate with a tool like OpenFunction. So these are some of the key use cases that we've seen across the partnership, and I'm going to dive into a couple more examples of these specifically. But just want to pause and see if anyone here is maybe already using some of these standard forms such as BNS and NRGT. Or just hear for folks if they have their own set of data collection tools. So maybe to start, just in the quick chat, is anyone currently using these standard forms or have questions? Quick chat, no one's using the standard forms currently? Okay, gotcha. Any questions around, I guess, just some of those use cases I had, or those standard forms in particular?
Is data access and permission setting a part of OpenFN?
It is, and we'll get to that in the second half.
Okay.
But absolutely, it is, and definitely a priority.
Alaska, this might be addressed later, but I was just wondering if with some of the standard forms, if there are built-in functions for like data transformation of raw data before analysis, or if that's something we customize ourselves.
Yeah, Diane, I'm wondering, maybe can you speak to that? I know in the Kobo there's that ability to configure some calculations, but in these standard forms specifically, are some of those already built in?
Yeah, so you can have you can build any calculation you want on Kobo Toolbox, and so if people have a Kobo account, if you go to the library, there is a ConSoSci public library where we've uploaded already a few forms, and yeah, when you upload a form or a template, these calculations are uploaded as well. So
okay, thanks.
Awesome. Well, we're going to dive a little bit more into some of these use cases specifically with just some examples. So if you have any questions, just please put your hand up, and my colleague Rita will keep an eye out, and we can pause and let you kind of jump in there. But the first one with using some of these standard forms, as I mentioned, the ConSoSci is building out these library of Kobo forms that might be used for data collection. So you might use these standard forms as they are out of the box, or you might customize them to meet your specific needs. But we worked with Wildlife Conservation Society in particular, I know implemented taking some of these standard forms and configuring this integration for then mapping that to a database. And in their case, that might be ConSoSci Connect, but it also might be any destination of your choice or both. So you can be collecting data and sharing it with the social science community or with other partners, or you can be mapping it to your own systems. But if you're leveraging some of these standard forms, then there are just kind of ready to go integration workflows set up for you. So for example, if you're using BNS and NRGT, today you can connect those forms and load them into a database. And again, that could be one or multiple databases, but also was a good use case of showing how organizations might be capturing different versions of these forms slightly, but even though those forms might come in different versions, they can still be pooled into one destination system. So a good solution for you all to check out if you're using those standard forms, or just generally if this type of use case of mapping forms to multiple destinations is something to explore a little bit further. The second use case that we implemented was around this multi-organization collaboration. So with this wild meat consumption in particular, there was a scenario where information was being captured on consumption across different sites and different forms. And there was already an existing database for managing and analyzing this information. So what we implemented with the solution was an integration connecting these different form versions with this very specific structured database. So this database had a data model that was designed in a very particular way to optimize certain analysis and queries and questions that organizations were asking. So was another example of how different data sources could still be mapped to this one structure, and also working across different organizations to achieve that. So another solution that's documented on the site there, and will be more to come, but if this resonates with any use cases at your organization, you can certainly reach out, and happy to kind of think through your use case in particular and how that might be applied. But the third one, which again, we'll talk a little bit more about on Monday, is this rapid deployment form automation option. So if you're working in a scenario where you don't have an existing set of data tools, or don't have that backend data system to capture the data you're collecting in the field, this solution allows you to take any Kobo form. So whether it's a standard form or whether it is your own custom form, but very quickly generate both a database configuration where that data can be sent to, as well as the actual integration and the connection. So we create both metadata as well as this connection to map data. And this allows you to very quickly, if you have a new survey, get that out in the field, but ensure that it can already be mapped to a database where it can be easily accessed by your team, where you can run queries, you can connect it to some sort of analytics tool for further analysis. And again, that data destination system might be something like ConSoSci Connect, or it might be your own database deployment, but this solution is meant to fast track that setup for you. So if you're interested in learning a little bit more about this rapid deployment solution, we're going to get more into that on Tuesday, with a focus really just on how to use it. So you don't need to be very technical or understand databases inside and out if you want to leverage this solution. But there will be a follow-on session where we will get into how you might manipulate the solution and adapt it to your own context if you are interested in extending it even further, and really leveraging OpenFn as a way to map and transform data in a way that aligns with your organization's specific requirements. So these are some of the example solutions that you can check out. Again, all on that ConSoSci GitHub repo, which we'll send a link around. But if those don't work for you out of box, or you already have some other integration requirement in mind, again, OpenFunction is this tool that's available to the partnership to build these different connections or integration workflows. And at a basic level, OpenFunction can be used to both extract information from systems as well as to load information into systems. And in that process, maybe manipulating or cleaning that information to meet whatever requirements you have. So for those of you that might be a little bit more technical, at a high level, OpenFunction can connect with any web app or database system out of box. But if you're trying to connect, specifically with different applications for which there might not be an available OpenFunction adapter or what we call connectors, leveraging web APIs, we can really quickly build these jobs to pool or load information into systems. And when we're sharing information between different systems via OpenFunction, that data is usually flowing through in a format that we call JSON. Which is just this nice descriptive format. If you see on the screen there, that's an example of a JSON representation of COBO survey data. So you all might be used to seeing COBO data more on the mobile form, in an Excel format, or database format. JSON is just one other format of that information. And by extracting information in that format, we can really quickly map it and load it to any other system or database. So we're going to talk a little bit more about OpenFunction specifically and how it works, and just to better help understand what your options are for leveraging this. But again, feel free to check out that GitHub repo and associated documentation site to learn more about things. And so I just want to pause here really quickly and check in with you all. Just to see if any of these use cases might resonate with your organization. I'd be really interested to hear if anyone's willing to share if some of those use cases that we had up on the screen seem to align with something that you've been looking at, or are something that you would want to learn more about that we could be focusing on in the coming days. So I'll pause here for that, and as well as any questions.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say, I mean, sort of like off the bat, I mean, the whole setup looks really valuable for us, I think, as we're looking to get more and more involved in doing the sort of social research. I can't think of any direct use case examples per se, but I'm immediately thinking that the use of standardized forms, particularly when you're working with resource users who might be involved in wild meat or in fisheries or in agriculture, there could be some really nice ways of harmonizing data collection across all these different use cases. So I guess at the moment it's just a case of ideas going off about how we might try to implement some of that stuff, kind of like in the future, shall we say, as opposed to maybe how it wraps in directly right now.
Cool.
Yeah, I can certainly think of cases for WWF that would benefit from this, particularly rapid deployment solutions. I actually have a social monitoring data collection starting this month, where I will have a COBO Toolbox form, but no official database except for the data stored in COBO Toolbox itself. So this is really intriguing, these rapid solutions, but also kind of legacy data that used and previous monitoring programs that use Access or Excel. I know you mentioned that OpenFN can also connect with some other services like PostgreSQL. So that's also something interesting too, the custom integration.
Awesome. And anything maybe from the WCS team on just, I know you all have been working on these use cases in particular, just kind of how this has empowered your organization to be approaching data a little bit differently.
Yeah, I can talk a bit about it, and I know that in this examples we're talking about BNS and governance, which are some forms that we use in many different places in WCS. But the idea is like we want to also know about other tools that other organizations use and how we can help everyone with standardizing their forms if they want to. And I know in WCS, it's been just first going from paper to digital has been a huge help in our data quality management, storage, and it helped saving time, resources, and now having the ability to just put all this data. Like for the BNS, we collect thousands of lines of data every year, and now we have this database where we can analyze all the data collected for the last 6 years and for the next 10 years maybe, and it's really helping to look at trends and make decisions based on what's being collected, like just right now, and also how are things evolving. So it's been a really big improvements, especially for social science and WCS and monitoring our impacts, to be able to have those tools.
Yeah, and maybe I can add a little bit here as well. I think what Diane and the team did with BNS and RGT, it predates what work on with OpenFN and predates ConSoSci efforts, but that was a fantastic example of a single project within WCS beginning to scale up innovation across WCS sites. And so we've got that standard form adopted in lots of locations. I think the reality is without tools like OpenFN and the ConSoSci partnership, it would take us to scale across all 150 locations where WCS work. It would take us tens of years to scale out, just because it gets complicated, to scale once you're dealing with data in Excel and having to, each time one person somewhere in the world updates your data, pull all the data over. So it's not just that it gives us really easy tools for people to capture and analyze data, it gives us the ability to scale, and I think, not only has it meant that we're in a position to think about scaling out tools like BNS globally, but we recently did a survey of all the different data people are collecting across WCS, and we see that there are about 20 different areas where standard forms will be really useful in the organization, and a kind of manual driven process would not allow us to deliver those. It would just leave us stuck at focusing at individual projects. Whereas with this kind of scalable solution, we can really think big and provide solutions across a whole organization.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing for all those that they piped up. And so I think for those of you that are still kind of thinking about where this fits in, I think that the high level is if you're looking for kind of quick, easy to deploy data collection tools, a way to move that information securely and quickly into the destination of your choice, whether that's existing systems or getting some sort of backend database set up. Or if you're looking just to structure this data in a little bit, a way that's easier for analysis and primed for that quick access, you might consider this technology stack that ConSoSci offers as either as a whole data pipeline solution end to end, or rather building blocks to plug into your existing digital ecosystem. So if you all want to stay on the line and ask any questions, I'll hang out here for a couple minutes. But there are some links up here on the screen to learn more for Kobo specifically. We say, go ahead and check out the Kobo Toolbox community, because it is this open source data collection tool used across social science research, across humanitarian organizations worldwide. There's a really lively community with lots of resources and examples of how to leverage that tool. For any other general questions about OpenFunction or the partnership or the technology stack, there's that info@consosci.org email that you can reach out to, and we can ensure that you get connected to the appropriate folks. But then, of course, there are some available documentation sites. So there's one with ConSoSci specifically in mind that provides an overview to some of these solutions. But then OpenFunction has just a general documentation site that goes a little bit more into the technical bits that we'll be exploring in the coming days, as well as providing some more examples of how other organizations out there are leveraging this tool to connect different applications. So I like even numbers, so I'm going to say let's take a 4-minute break. So on my clock, that's 13 minutes past the hour. If we can just come back, and we're going to focus on OpenFunction specifically. So just talking a little bit more about what this platform can do, what are jobs, some of these other terminology. I myself am going to get some water, but I will hang around for another 2 minutes if anyone has any quick questions. But let's come back in 4 minutes.